I'm Caroline from Giving Evidence, and we're talking about the research that Giving Evidence has published into royal patronages of charities. We've talked about what a patronage comprises, and now I'm going to turn to our second research question about what charities have them. In order for us to establish this, we had to look at the data that the royal family publishes about its charities and patronages, and this turned out to be quite complicated. It publishes a list of charities and patronages all bracketed together. As I mentioned, it has over 2,000 patronage relationships, and fewer than half of those are with UK registered charities. The rest are with private sports clubs, cities, parts of the military, and so on. So firstly, we had to ascertain which are UK registered charities. And then there were also some problems because the data just are a bit messy. So there are some inconsistencies, some omissions, some things that are just wrong. Some duplicate entries. So actually it took us quite a while to sort out and get a defensible list of which royals are patrons of what. There are 19 members of the UK royal family who have patronage relationships with charities. We then looked at that set of patrony charities and we analysed it on three factors. Firstly, the sectoral split. Secondly, geography, the geographic split, and thirdly, size of the charities. On sector, we looked at the proportion of patronage charities in various parts of the charity sector, health, education, and so on. And then we secondly compared that with the population of UK charities overall. And we found that patronage charities are concentrated in a few sectors. When we compared it with the UK sector overall, we found that there are two sectors that are most what you might call over-patroned. They have more than what would be their fair share if the patronages were just distributed uniformly. Those are animals and the environment, and culture and sport. And there are some sectors that are what you might call under-patroned, which are social services, education, employment, housing, and perhaps surprisingly, religion. On geography, again, we did the same thing. We looked at where royal patronages are, so where those charities are based. But we're, of course, mindful that charities are not based uniformly, distributed uniformly across the UK. Many more are based in the UK and the southeast. And so to take account of that, we compared where the patronages are with where the people are, so the population of the different geographic areas. And we found that London, the southeast of England, and the southwest have many more than what you might call their fair share of patronages. And that skew to London, the southeast, and the southwest is so strong that all other parts of the UK are what you might call under-patroned. It's also striking that all members of the royal family who have patronage charities have main residences in those three areas, in London, the southeast, and the southwest. We found that there's quite often a link between where a member of the royal family lives or the geography of their title and where at least some of their patronage charities are. So the Duke of York, for example, has quite a number of patronages in York or Yorkshire, and the Duchess of Cornwall has quite a number in Cornwall. Thirdly, on size, in general, the charities which have royal patronages are large. So on average, they are 30 times larger than the average UK charity. As we mentioned, some charities have multiple royal patrons, and those are very large, on average about 80 times larger than the average UK charity. So that was what we found in terms of which organisations have patronages. We could not discover really the process nor criteria by which charities are selected for royal patronages. There is some information on Buckingham Palace's website. There was a quote from quotes the guy who runs the Royal Foundation that was in the Times newspaper, which implied that it was any charity that asks, but we couldn't reliably find out what the selection process and criteria are. So that was our second question in terms of who has patronages, and I'm going to go on now and talk about the third research question, which is whether they make any difference to the charities.